Dr. Katrice Albert making her way for a weekly here early before even jumping on the first time. She's talking trash about Boog, throwing shots in the way. I'm with you, Doc. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. How are you?
Good morning, Jordy and T-Bob. Thank you so much for having me this morning. Booger McFarland just running his head, going into my segment, pitching you at the end.
Yes, ma'am. I will get you his contact information. You can bill him. You're a New Roads native. You're Louisiana educated. You went on to get your post-grad and doctorate at Southern Miss in Auburn, and you're now the former NCAA Vice President of Inclusion and Human Resources. Explain to our listeners what that position, the responsibility of that position within the organization is.
Yeah, thank you so much. And listen, 15 years at LSU before then.
Ma'am.
So my role was in that former role, I was responsible for helping all of our member institutions to really think about inclusive excellence and building diversity on campus so our student athletes would be able to, see coaches and athletic administrators who look like them and who could understand their lived experiences. And then also all the human resources work for the 500 folks who are in Indianapolis helping our association do the policy work that is necessary for intercollegiate athletics.
So, Doc, last week, big news comes out with the cancellation of spring sports, and then from there was just kind of a reaction of what now? What happens now? And I think the first thing that came out was the NCAA deciding that they were going to grant another year of eligibility to seniors in spring sports. What was your thought on that decision?
Yeah, I think that was the absolute right decision. Mark Emmert, who's president of the NCAA, former chancellor of LSU, Louisianans know and love him. He often talks about the fact that we do sports, but we're really in the human development business. And many of these student athletes, had the jarring experience because of the coronavirus of the ending of their experience, their intercollegiate experience. And so, granting them the additional year of eligibility is the first step, right? Mm-hmm. And so, it's a lot of detail work now, but that was the absolute right decision.
Well, and what are some of the details that have to be hashed out there? Because I agree that it is the right decision, but it does raise a lot of interesting conundrums like scholarship limits. How much do you have those? It is on a school-by-school basis. You also kind of have like a log jam now a little bit from everything being pushed back here. So how do you start to solve those problems?
Yeah, so it's the coordinating committee and the board of governors will have continuing discussions about how to actually operationalize and actualize this decision. But decision making is, of course, harder in high stress times. So now it's about keeping people safe around this coronavirus and doing the right things around health and safety. But I think as the days tick on, it's going to impact departments of athletics around their budgets. And so, issues related to financial aid will need to be considered, the number of scholarships and the number of slots that you actually have. And then, you mentioned playing time, these juniors that have waited and, practiced so hard and they're waiting for their opportunity. So it's going to take a lot of understanding. But what I think is really important as these seniors make important decisions about next steps for themselves, they are future leaders. So if they are taking this advantage of the additional year, they can go ahead and complete their degree, because I'm a higher education wonk. I want our students to complete their degree and then start graduate school, right? Because we're building future leaders.
Yeah, and why not take advantage? That could be a little silver lining in a bad situation. We're talking to Dr. Katrice Albert. And Dr. Katrice, maybe you have some insight into this. A lot of people asking me, and, I have my thoughts. I don't know why, but a lot of people ask me, well, why'd they go ahead and cancel the College World Series in June and cancel all of these spring championships, and you could have postponed it? Do you have any insight as to why that decision, that ultimate, kind of final decision was made?
Yeah, I don't have all of the ins and outs of what the Board of Governors, discussed. Again, I'm a former employee, but I do believe that it is because we have these uncertain times, these uncharted times, and listen, just going off of last night from the CDC, where they have reduced the number of people gathering to 50, from 250 to 50. So if we're just looking at, how this coronavirus has impacted other countries and on other continents with Italy, they are just trying to contain this. And I think, it's really important that where we have institutions who have taken classes to online only, right? They have moved students out of their residence hall for the entire semester. We're following the lead of our member institutions that the spring semester is now totally online for the health and safety and protection of everyone in our country.
Yeah.
Dr. Katrice Albert joining us here. Dr. Albert is passionate, national thought leader in the areas of inclusive excellence, higher ed, athletics, culture, and engagement. She's on Twitter at Dr. Katrice Albert, a Louisiana native, formerly of the NCAA. You mentioned that you were formerly there, and for a lot of the college athletics viewing public, there seems to be a disconnect between that organization and the public. Do you guys feel that within, as far as trying to maybe modernize the organization as far as keeping up with sports? Did you feel that while you were there?
Yes, I think that, the leadership that we have in place at the NCAA, they're really trying to be a connector related to higher education and intercollegiate athletics. Our board of governors, made up of presidents and directors of athletics, we are about doing the right thing for our student athletes. And, in the end, it is really important to understand the mission of the organization is about academic excellence, the ability for our students to compete in their sport, and fairness of the game. And a lot of folks talk about that it's, a lot of bureaucracy because of the way in which the Board of Governors it's structured, where our presidents have to come together and make a decision for 1,100 member institutions. And so I do believe that, modernizing the association is where we are able to get these sorts of decisions to go ahead and, make the call around giving eligibility for an additional year that, our student athletes are able to compete based on this, uncertain time and uncharted territory related to the coronavirus.
Dr. Albert, we appreciate your expertise this morning. It's always welcome on the show.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to get Booger, so send me his address.
You got it. You got it. Dr. Katrice Albert joining us here this morning with a little insight on that decision from the NCAA to grant that extra year of eligibility to spring sport participants.